This is music, and this is another bunch of songs from the Pukebox. Welcome to another episode of songs from the Pukebox. It's a What's Spinning series. Terrible title, awful pun, I know. The idea is basically that I share with you some of the music I've listened to over the last week or so and just talk about it. And this time I have a handful of CDs that I listened to in my office at work. So let's just get down to business. Up first, Attack of the Killer Bees by Anthrax. It's a compilation of B-sides from singles and stuff. I would not recommend this as a gateway album into the world of Anthrax. Go with Among the Living, I think. But this is good fun. You have some fun covers. There's a cover version of Milk by SOD. I prefer the Anthrax one because it has the Anthrax sound and Joey Belladonna on vocals. There's a very cool cover version of Protest and Survive, again with the Anthrax sound. There's Parasite and Pipeline, and there's of course the awesome song Bring the Noise, which they did with Public Enemy. And there's their own rap metal song I'm the Man, which is a bit of a jokey song. You got some live stuff on here too, Belly of the Beast and Keep It in the Family. So it's good fun. I enjoy listening to this every now and then, but it's not, I think, a good gateway album into the world of Anthrax. Up next, Jupiter by Atheist. Atheist were known for combining death metal and jazz, and they released 3 albums in the 90s, went on a long hiatus, and then they released this one here, Jupiter, on Season of Mist in the 2000s or 2010s, can't remember. But it sounds like it could have been released right after Elements. So it continues that style, metal combined with jazz fusion. You have, and I think that's really cool, on here you've got some Latin beats from Latin jazz every now and then, especially in Faux King Christ. I think this is a great album. It's a challenging listen for sure. You have your metal parts, you have your jazz fusion parts. The metal parts are kind of progressive in their own right, I would say. So if you like progressive music and progressive metal, this one is worth checking out. I think it's probably a bit of an underrated album. I don't see a lot of people talk about it, to be honest, which is a shame, because I think it's as good as Unquestionable Presence to me, and definitely better than Elements. And I think Elements is actually pretty good. The vocals are harsh, but they're not growls. They sound more like somebody with a severe constipation trying to take a dump and have a conversation at the same time. I quite like the vocals, actually. They fit the music very well. Great stuff. Check it out if you are into progressive music. Up next, Demonica, and it's called Demonstrous. So this is modern thrash metal with, the modern polished thrash metal sound. And it's actually a Hank Sherman project. So he plays the guitars, or you have 2 guitarists. He's one of them. It's actually very aggressive. I think it's probably the most aggressive Sherman thing I've heard. He's known for Merciful Fate and Fate as well. And Denner Sherman, of course. And I think if you like your modern thrash, and I know it's kind of out of fashion to like modern thrash nowadays. It has to be retro thrash. It has to sound like in the 80s, early 90s. But if you like modern thrash, this is great. It's aggressive. It has, all the songs have a punch to them. You have great guitar work on here. The vocals are kind of macho in a way. Not too much though. I think this is great stuff. If you like thrash metal, and it doesn't have to be retro thrash, this is definitely worth a listen. Up next, we have this one here, Meantime by Helmet. So, Helmet, kind of a 90s alternative metal band. And it's actually very good. You have Unsung on here. That's a brilliant song. That's my favorite Helmet song. You do have elements from metal. I detect a very slight Black Sabbath vibe here. You have hardcore punk elements, not so much the fast parts, but the groovy parts, and that's the strength of this album. I think it's really super groovy without trying to sound like Pantera. You have Unsung on here. That's a brilliant song, but most of the songs here have lots of qualities to them. It's not super polished in terms of the production, but it's not as kind of grungy as a lot of 90s metal and 90s hard rock was. I really enjoy this for sure. At least check out Unsung and see what you think about it. And up last, Give Me Your Soul Please by King Diamond. I bought this one the day before it was officially released. I was in a record store and I picked up some Merciful Fate CDs, and the owner was like, hey, King Diamond is going to release a new album tomorrow. I can get you a copy, and if you want to listen to it, you can listen to it over there on our CD player and buy it if you want to. And I just said, I don't need to listen to it. I'll just buy it. This is interesting because for some reason, a lot of people seem to dislike this album. I don't know why. I think it's great. Maybe it's because he still has the falsetto and stuff, but it's not as intense on this album, and he does a lot of more mid-range stuff. But I think this is a great album. I don't think this is better or worse than a lot of the albums that came out before this. You actually have some very good songs on here. Obviously, it tells you a kind of a ghost story. And it starts out with a really strong melodic track. There's a bit of power metal on here too, but it's of course King Diamond. You have from Andy LaRocque, amazing guitar work, lots of traditional metal parts too. Some of the songs, but I think you always have that, at least one song or two or something like that on a King Diamond album that are a bit like circusy, a bit carnivalesque, a bit creepy. But I think this is a great King Diamond album. I don't get why people don't like it, but if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. I like it very much. So there you go. I think it's a fine King Diamond album with great guitar work and fantastic vocals. I don't see the problem. Anyways, that was a handful of CDs. I can vouch for all of these releases. It's all great stuff. But again, if you're looking to get into Anthrax, I would recommend Among the Living. Thanks for watching.